Wow, it sure is festive in here. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's episode 178. All right, let's do a quick sponsor shout out. It's mostly a sponsored shout out show anyway, but let's do it again anyway. VetDNA.com. Use code #ShitHappens for $5 for the crypto panel at VetDNA.com. Thank you, Brill. Very good.
Eileen could almost be seen.
Almost. And then let's do Shane Kelley, Xotics. He was on Proper Royals last night. If you want to watch him, they were talking about relationships in sponsorships. Should anybody watch that?
I've watched most of it. Is that the one that Chris was on as well? And bunch with folks? Yeah.
Steven.
That's good.
Yeah. Very good. Check that out. Thank you, Shane, Xotics. Andrew Boring. What is he doing?
I have no idea.
No, he's being very tall. We love that for him. Congratulations, Andrew. You've won the Genetic Lottery. Check him out in the Pacific Northwest. Justin, another one. I'm really not sure what he's doing either. He's living his best life, breeding clown pied and Venus Reptilia. Chris is like off and on whether or not I can keep track of him. I think he's in the woods most of the time, which is fair.
Yeah.
And what we're doing tonight is like a year 2024 recap with two of the sponsors, Great Family Snakes and Bravo Zulu Ball Pythons, and we'll go back through 2024 and then look forward to 2025, and then hopefully next week I can grab two more, and then the next week two more, unless the last two are too busy or too feral to be caught.
Good
then we'll try some other time, but. Just to sort of put a pin in the year, because it's been a crazy year, if you think about it. I feel like a lot of stuff's changed. Maybe everything stayed the same, and I don't know what's happening. So I need some resolution. I need some closure. So hopefully we accomplish that tonight. Some catharsis. Oh my God. I lost my sheet. How's everybody doing while I look for it? Because I've lost it.
We're doing awesome. I can just kick it off a little bit and say this year was way better for us than the previous year.
Well, let's start with that. Why do you think it was better overall?
We had a really bad 23 is why it was better overall.
We had one clutch.
So production-wise, it was better.
Production-wise, it was rough. Mm-hmm. And this year we had 11.
Yeah, 23 we were coming off of our first bout of mites as we learned how to deal with all of that and dried out some of our females during prime breeding time, I think, and they didn't go for us. And then I spent most of the year working on building this room, so it was a lot.
Oh, this is sort of a related question, but it's not even on there. How did both of you, or collectively all three of you, deal with motivation? Like, what things were helping keep the vibes alive? Because it's hard over years to be like, yeah, I'm equally invested all the time emotionally in what's going on. Obviously you're not, but then like, what do you do to come back, I guess?
What do you think, Eileen?
Yeah, well, one is diversifying collection, but also like even just with the ball python stuff is I only work with shit that I actually like to look at. So motivation's not really that hard. I don't chase as much. I mostly just chase my own project, and it's kind of nice having progress made on that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Lori saved us. I think there was a time, especially last year when things were down, that I probably would have packed it in and said, yeah, I'm getting really tired of this. But she picked up the whole snake room for a while. I mean, she still lead on the snake room itself and sort of keeping it clean and stuff. And so that really helped. So then I could focus on pairings and all the rest of the business stuff that goes along with it. But I didn't get burned out on just cleaning poop. So that helped a lot. But then personally, aside from that, what keeps me going is every time we open a new clutch and there's something in there that we were hoping to get, that'll just perk you up for another month, I think.
Yeah, it's so convenient that hatching season's so late in the year, because it kind of like after a long, spring and summer of working your ass off, you see the little babies and you're happy.
Yeah.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, I think it's. I might have lamented about it, been confused about it. Like, what makes someone stay? And it often has nothing to do with how much money they spent initially, how much money they're spending now, how or how good their collection is or was. It has more to do with just the will to find joy in little things and keep going and be motivated and relatively happy. So like that's the difference is finding I don't know.
If you're like a chaser, like the chasers will never stop chasing. Like there will always be something and you're not feeling fulfilled. You're never hitting your mark. There's always, you can't chase. There's too many big people out there that are you'll never catch them. Just make what you want. Make what you like.
I'm definitely OCD. Some of our breeding plans that are going to take like 9 years, it would be really hard to let that go and not hit those final snakes.
All right, well, let's go down the list. What goals did you set in 2024 that you achieved that maybe inspired you to keep going?
Yeah. Well, we hit 11 clutches, so that was our goal, was to hit 10 or more, especially coming off that one clutch season last year. And so hitting that was huge for us. That was really reminding us, okay, we can actually do this. We're not failures after all.
Eileen?
So for ball python wise, I was actually the opposite, and I wanted to cut production. So I only bred basically anything that I was raising up that I wasn't sure was going to go anyway. I used that as a way to limit what I produced. So I only bred all virgins. And I succeeded in that because I only made one clutch last year, which worked out well because I was just anticipating it. But I normally only do somewhere between like 5 and 10. So I'm not a big production. So having the one clutch, I was able to back off, not worry about as much. But outside of the ball pythons, my main goal was just to diversify. I wanted to add more Dominicans, and I wanted to get into house snakes. And so over the year, I added 2 more female Dominicans, and then I added my entire collection of house snakes, which is just 5, but it's a whole project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to give AJ a shout out. Getting those Eastern Sanzinias this year, that's definitely my highlight. I'm so stoked about that.
Was that a goal you had starting out where you're like looking for another species to get into and you weren't sure? And
opposite, actually, the Sanzinias, I don't know how exactly I stumbled on them. I think it comes back to Gary Stravino, one of the videos he had. But I got interested in those, and then when I held one, I was like, no, this is it. I wasn't actually wanting to branch outside of ball pythons originally, but I'm glad I am. I think it's good to have more than one species, but they're just awesome.
And he's had the goal to get both Westerns and Easterns since he was first introduced to them. It just took him a while to get on that list for Easterns and to get picked.
Well, that's good. It's hard with animal stuff to do, in some ways, goal setting. So sometimes I like goals that don't have anything to do with animal stuff. Were there any goals that you sort of set and then achieved that were different, like about, I don't know, social media, or like accountability with any of the other parts of your collection, or learning about things, traveling, doing more shows or whatever?
We did 3 national shows. So we were wanting to get into some of the national shows. This was our first year to really do that. So we did Daytona, we did St. Louis in the RBC, and we did the Charlotte show, all of which were, we really enjoyed. And we're going to do more national shows next year.
Yeah, we were the same. We just wanted to get into the national shows because I've always vended with Conley Herps, but I don't normally have my own table. And so the March shows, I get my own table for that one. And then we did the St. Louis where I had my own table. So that was pretty cool.
Are we going to do less little shows, or
Yeah, I think so.
certain ones maybe, and less of other ones?
Yeah, I already cut out like basically all my little shows. The only little show I do is the Midwest because that's in my backyard and it's supporting Brian, so I just do that one religiously. But they only do it every like 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for us really to do the smaller shows. I've started trying to make some good contacts in the pet stores to offload like the double het males and that kind of stuff instead of spending a whole weekend on that.
Yeah. The cost benefit analysis has always been troubled, but it's really troubled now.
Yeah.
You're like, there are still benefits there, but it's sometimes you're like, man, what are we doing?
That was a big shock to me too. So, I mean, with last year, us getting the one clutch and me having my head in the sand working on the snake room, you know, because I did all the work myself and with the family. So it took a long time. It took all of our free time. But I missed the whole market crash. Like, so it was slowly going down, I think, for most people. But for me, that whole Band-Aid ripped off in 24 when we started having clutches again. And so I was like, what happened? You know, this $3,000 Xanthic pied female is worth $800, you know?
Yeah.
And that was really shocking.
Was it hard to deal with, or were you just like, well, it is what it is?
Oh, he laid and cried for a little bit.
I don't remember laying and crying. But no, I mean, I knew it would happen eventually, right? So I wasn't like totally unprepared for it. And I was actually kind of looking forward to the day when some of these things can be sold as pets, because it'll be just so nice to hand somebody an Xanthic desert ghost that they take home as a pet. That's not happening right now. So I was okay with it, but I definitely redid my breeding plans to do something a little different.
Attack. Just kidding. There's a dog in here now. Yeah, it's been really weird and interesting. And I guess like that's the thing about trying to I don't know. I feel like I've gone through the 10 steps of grief. The market conditions, you know, and then you're just like, whatever. I just have to.
Did you hit acceptance yet?
Yeah.
Once you hit acceptance,
Sometimes I feel like I'm good, and then somebody will put something somewhere, and I'm just like, what? That's how much it went for? What?
Don't watch the morph market auctions.
Oh,
They're
man.
terrible. They're so bad.
They go so cheap. That helped me get into some projects though that I wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah, but I see some things on there where like I'm like, oh, that's a really good price, and I look at the person, they only have like 3 like interactions ever.
Yeah,
That's true.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I got burned, mited. I don't know how you want to describe it by like morph market auctions with people I thought I knew of, but I never bought from before, so I didn't know them that well, and I'm like, I don't want to buy them anymore. Unless I know who they are.
There's like maybe 2 or 3 people I buy from.
we had one lady that bought one of ours on auction and then tried to scam us with it, and that's like the first time.
She tried to scam you with it?
You want to
she's-
tell the story?
You want to tell
She
it?
tried to sell it back.
You don't have to. If it's
She didn't try to sell it back to us. She tried to claim that it died within 24 hours of it being in her care.
She sent
Showed
us
us
pictures with
showed us pictures of blood all over the paper and everything. And I was like, I want proof. Like, where's my snake? Why are you not showing me a proof of dead snakes?
Yeah, first she showed us a picture like an hour or two after she picked it up of the snake with the blood all over it, but it was like dried blood. Like, this is bizarre. I was like, what is going on? And then she told me the story about how this had happened to her before, and I'm like, this seems very strange, right? And so I started reaching out, and nobody could ever say no that it ever seen anything like that happen. I was like, well, maybe there's something wrong with their FedEx. Maybe they fumigated it, and it's like killing all the snakes that are coming to her area or something. But I was able to find out who it had happened to her before with, and reached out to them, and they're like, yeah, that lady's batshit crazy, And so I contacted Morph Market, and they went and looked through some of her history and found that his snake that she had told him had died, she was trying to trade to other people. So now I'm super leery about trades too. So, but they just kicked her off the platform, thank goodness.
Yeah, I
And
like
we didn't
that.
have to give her money back.
Yeah, I like that. Like they kick people off quickly for being bad and weird, but like the barrier to entry to make a new account isn't that hard. So like,
Right. But don't they have to provide ID or something?
no,
No, there's no ID check.
they were thinking about making that a
I've been
rule.
on it since the first year, so I don't know what they do now.
I went back through and I was kind of researching her as she was telling these stories, and they just were weird. I was like, well, send it back. I said, I'll take it to the vet and figure out what's going on. She wouldn't send it back. And then she started saying weird stuff about her vet was 3-hour drive away or something. So she just needed me to refund the whole money so that she could afford the drive up there. And I was like, this is weird. It was a $750 snake too. I was like, it ain't that much for gas either. So like, just send the snake back, and she would never do it.
Yeah, I mean, does that make you?
It made me hate the auctions. So that was my
Yeah.
other comment to the Morph Market was, hey, if this person had contacted me with 0 reviews and said some of the weird stuff they said up front, I might not have sold them the snake. And I went and tried to research her, and she had 8 Facebook accounts, and I'm like, that's unusual.
I've only done a couple
Zoo,
of the
is that
auctions.
her name? What is
I
her name, Richard?
don't know that. That's not her name.
There's AJ. He's here. What's up, brother?
Yeah, I'd only ever done a couple of the auctions. My problem with it was the person would either not tell me that they ever received my snake at all, and I'd message them multiple times. They'd be really communicative until they got the snake. And I'd get the confirmation from FedEx, and they would never tell me anything. I'd message them, I wouldn't hear back. And then they also just wouldn't leave reviews. They wouldn't leave a rating.
So they're not so not only are you not getting like a good
I'm not getting a good
you're not getting a good returning customer or a good anything off of it. I don't know. It's hard right now because I know people like need to move inventory, and so like I'm very sympathetic to that because like it could be bad for people. But then I'm like, maybe we need to not breed enough next year so we don't need to put them on the auction or find somewhere else to put them.
That's why I didn't produce as much this year. I was trying not to have that problem.
All right. What goals did we try for in 2024 that you failed to achieve? And would you like to work on them in 2025 or maybe put a pin in them because you've reevaluated what you want to do? If any, maybe you hit all your goals and you get an A+.
Nothing big for us. We had 3 clutches that didn't wind up working out for us. Just bad odds on one, and then one that was egg bound, and so we just kind of let that whole project go. That was painful dealing with the egg bound snake and all the vet bills that go with that. But we did let that project go. So that was going to be OD, YB, het kikis is what we were expecting to get out of the pairing. We'll just we have so many other projects. It's okay. So we sold the male
And the female. We sold both.
Yeah, the female is pet only. So
she was both oviducts and ovaries were taken, or just one?
Just the one. But figured we probably shouldn't pair her.
Yeah.
It's hard because like the scar tissue could be weird, but sometimes the other side still works. It's just you don't know.
No, the vet said don't do it, so we were like, okay, we won't. We're just gonna.
I wound up getting a video of the event, and it was horrific. I was like, "Yep, I'm not pairing her."
I'd imagine it'd probably be a little bit trickier on timing too, because they normally alternate which side they use.
Yeah, we had one really bad clutch that only gave us 1 egg, and it was surprising to me because she gave us 3 slugs and 1 egg. But last year, that same female had given us like 9 or 10 good snakes.
Gorgeous eggs.
I mean, every one of those eggs was great, and the snakes came out healthy and everything. I was just like, what happened? And I think it's just the different sides.
It could be they can have a bad side and a good side.
Yeah, we need a Harbin here because I wonder why they didn't take both sides. Because what if she ovulates by herself?
They didn't take anything, so they palpated the eggs out. But one so had been in there long enough that it sort of, but they tried to. So they palpated out the last egg that had already started to reabsorb and was like attached to it. And so the oviduct came with it. And it was.
So the ovaries are there, one oviduct and not another oviduct.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know. Summon a Harbin. Because court snakes are weird because they still have 2 sides. But they're starting to take less. But you can take one whole half of one out, and they'll still ovulate and lay eggs out of the other half. And I'm sure ball pythons would too.
Oh, there was a part of me that wanted to try it, but ultimately, I was like, no, we're not gonna risk it.
No. I just don't know. I it's sort of like the risk of a caramel or a desert female, because they could just ovulate one day by themselves, and parthenogen production. Oh. All right, that's depressing. Let's move on. So
spay your caramels.
That's what I'm saying. We spay bearded dragons and iguanas and stuff because they will ovulate all the time by themselves too.
All right, Eileen, what'd you fail to hit?
Well, since I didn't breed as much, I also didn't progress anything. So the only clutch I did have, I mean, I kept a holdback just because I always keep the best thing in the clutch, but it's not really anything that progresses any of my projects. I didn't work on anything. I didn't work on my puzzle stuff. I was supposed to add a non-related comboed puzzle male this year, and I never did that. So I'll probably be hunting for one in 2025. I only bought 1 ball python all year.
Oh, you got me beat.
That's much better than him.
I bought 12 in the last month.
All them damn holiday deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went Christmas shopping early
Oh,
for himself.
I discovered the auctions a little better. Yeah, before I knew they were there, but I wasn't really looking at them. And I started picking up stuff.
I bought 2 snakes because I had that one auction snake.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, St. Louis.
Mhm.
Yeah, not doing that again.
And all the freebies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yikes.
It was pretty cool.
Were there any non-animal making goals that you maybe didn't hit? Like, I don't know, an Instagram follower count or...
I wanted to get the Sanzinia breeding room done, but it's only 70%, 80% done. So work to do.
It's
there.
looking good though.
It's close.
It looks great.
I can't wait to put racks in, or not racks, but cages in it.
Cages.
Yeah, it's going to be fire.
Yeah.
You have to do like a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Slowly,
thinking,
it'll get there.
We're always saying that we're going to put in a snake building, but every year, with school and everything and finances, we're like, I can wait. So that didn't get no progress made there.
Mm-hmm. Next year, 2025, it's the big year.
Yeah, I mean, I have normally when we do these videos, I'm out in my other building, and that's like it used to be just my quarantine. I quarantine out there, and then it's like stage 1 quarantine, and then they'd get moved to the same house, different room, and then eventually into the same room. But because I have the boas and the house snakes, I'm still terrified to put them with my ball pythons. And so that whole building's just become the other project room. And so I'm kind of taking over that space as well. Unintentionally.
All right. So what is in your 2024 holdback rack?
Well, we have we did good. We've got a lot of Axanthic Desert Ghost stuff. We've got an Axanthic Clown double visual. We've got several Axanthic Pieds, and the Crumble gene that we've kind of proved now is consistently a high pattern, essentially no white piebald. So we've made 2 clutches of that now. So I'll be expanding that project.
Who's it from?
It's from our albino.
Yeah, it's from an albino piebald head Axanthic that we bought our first year, and I can't remember who we got it from, but they thought they were selling us an albino het pied, but it was visual pied. It just couldn't, just no white. And testing has proved all this. So.
You don't know what it looks like outside of pied?
Yeah. Nope. Everything we have made out of that female has been piebald. So this year we are going to pair some stuff that will give us some non-piebald from that. So if there's a second gene in there that's just running along homozygous with the pied, then we should be able to see it.
Yeah,
but we did test for inchy and it wasn't that. So.
Yeah, it is interesting. I just don't know. It's hard to know anything these days. And then Eileen, you just had the one holdback.
Yeah, the only thing I kept back, it was a Enchy spot nose leopard pinstripe het clown female. So I kept her back. She's kind of neat looking though. I wanted to get more pinstripe into my clowns. I had pinstripe clown stuff way back in the day, like 2014, 2015, and nobody gave a shit about pinstripe clown. And then now everybody loves it and it's cool again. And I should have kept it
cool. A lot of people don't like it.
A lot of people still don't like it, but I'm seeing a
controversial.
lot of love for it now. And I'm seeing a lot of big breeders working with it again. But like I had them back then. I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have sold them all. So now I'm trying to build that back up.
I feel like some of this stuff may be like the 90s and the 80s clothing. Like it just kind of circles around every couple of years.
It's vintage now.
It's vintage, so it's coming back and it's going to be super popular and just skyrocket again.
G-Stripe is just right on the edge of becoming the super popular.
Yeah. Well, so I feel like G-Stripe is kind of making its way back around again. It's cyclic. It's very cyclic. The Kiki came out and it brought it back, but now I'm seeing a lot of people just working straight G-Stripe and cool things.
Yeah. I actually like G-Stripe better than Kiki personally, but triple recessives is a fun goal. Oh, that's something else we hit a triple recessive this year. Not the most exciting one, but
which one was it?
That was the snow-pied, Axanthic albino piebald. But it gave us that one Axanthic saddle, so it was pretty unique.
That's neat.
That's cool. Yeah, I go around in like circles of like, what do people want? And then you're like, I don't know. But then you're like, what do I want? And then I'll make that. But then I'm like, I can't sell it because it's only what I want. But then they'll want it next year, so I might as well just keep it.
Just make more.
Our breeding plans have changed a lot just in the last few months as we're kind of looking forward to the next year. And with genetic testing and a lot of what we've learned, I think we'll be making a lot of unique stuff that nobody else is making. But then that means we have to market it. So we'll probably have to start doing some amount of YouTube and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's confusing, but then I'm like, I don't know. Like for me, right this second, if you're like put a gun to my head, pick a ball python you like. I'd rather take a regular hypo ball python over almost any other ball python, which is insane to say out loud. They're
Like,
so
for me,
attractive.
That's
as
like the
adults.
banana G-stripe. Banana G-stripe is the simplest combo, and it's one of the coolest things I see. And
I'm about to hatch a couple of those.
All day. I used to make them all the time, and I stopped making them.
What we have in the incubator is banana G-stripe that's going to be double het axanthic desert ghost. So that'll be fun. If you've seen
Do you like banana axanthics?
I love it. That's one of my favorites. Yeah. That like pinkish kind of faded color instead of the black is nice.
Do you like ultramel axanthics?
I do, yeah. And so we're not working ultramel, but we're going to be doing monarch stuff. So within,
with Tom.
We got Tom from the Harbins, and I think it'll probably be, I did my first imports and have some double het, almost breeder ready, double het females, axanthic and monarch. So we should be pretty far ahead on that project. Yeah.
I mean, the dollar's pretty strong, so
yeah. So it'll be something really.
Deal.
I'm excited. Yeah, those are the kind of things that get me like reinvested. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see this happen.
Yeah,
I don't have any like the Mels, the Ultra Mels. I don't have any of those, but the Monarch is actually my favorite of them.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's the most dynamic because of the dark.
Yeah, it's got more
contrast,
which is always good.
Yeah. It's just like it's hard because I like work. I don't know if it's worry, but like if everybody has a different triple and each triple has a different axanthic and a different albino, like you're reducing your potential audience the way we're doing it, which is fine. We're all just having fun, so it doesn't really matter. But like I think the like peak pricing for hitting a triple when they get more esoteric and we get further down the line sort of falls down because there's less people in that version of it. Like if you hit a rainbow monsoon pied, that's probably expensive, but like how many people want that?
But on the flip side, if somebody is in that market, you've limited the competition because you don't have as many people making that specific project. So I guess it's two sides of the same coin, I guess.
Yeah, it's like sort of, I don't know, keeping a rare species. Less people want it, but there's less people breeding it. So like you and 5 friends are working on it together. It's just like the idea of like one really cool clown project being really expensive, just clown. It's going to be hard to replicate even in these much harder things because not everyone will want it. Like price point wise.
Yeah, you only need one person to want it, you know.
That's why I want everybody to want just a pet Dominican red mountain boa because I don't want more people breeding them. When you breed them, they pop out 30 of them at a time. So you like flood the market really fast, and then it takes you forever to sell them all because it's such a niche market that you can't sell all. That's the reason why, you know how like that there's that one clutch or that one litter that got dumped on Facebook or on Morph Market, and it like $250 each. Because, you know, it's like, that's a spooking thing. Like, hey, I just made 30 of these and they didn't sell right away. Now I have to drop the price. But then when a few of them sold, the price went back up on them. Because you just dumped 30 of them
people do that to like Brazilian rainbow bows too.
Yeah.
Because they really could be 400 all day long. But people will be like,
yeah, it shows.
I have 30, so $200.
And then you sell a few of them and you get down to 15. You're like, okay, now I want to charge 400 for them.
Yeah, that's kind of, I'm going to say it, fucked up for like a rare species. Like if you have too many, then you need to breed them every other year or every 3 years until you sell them down because like your market is limited no matter what. So
I was kind of thinking about, because that's one of my 2025 goals. I'm going to try and breed for the first time. And I'm thinking of what I'll do is like stages. Like I'm going to divide them all up by like quality, the best ones, save those for later. And like maybe let the bottom third go first in like a wave. And then once those sell, those can be like the very bottom might just be, you know, the show fodder. And the middles get to go. And then the best are for last. Like those don't go until everything else is sold. And those are the best ones.
Your pictures are fire. You've got some beautiful Dominican
And some people
Remombos.
Yeah, the thing is they vary so much. Like I have people asking because I posted some pictures and they're all like, "Well, I only want the red ones. I only see brown ones on Morph Market." I'm like, "Yeah, but the babies are probably going to turn red, but you don't know. It's a gamble."
It's like the Sanzinias. They're a
Yeah.
totally different color when they're babies. Like, which one's going to be more green? Which one? The Western.
You'll know in 5 years.
Yeah, you got to grow them up first. So
There's like pastels. There's a lot of things called pastel, but there's some really cool like pastel variants that they look. To me, I call it inverse, where they're actually a cream color as a base instead of the red, but the pattern instead of being black is bright red.
Have you guys seen the Mimic ball python? I just figured that one out lately.
Oh, the Mimic's cool. Yeah.
It changes so freaking much.
Well, it's proven genetic, right? They've done it a couple of times.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. So I took pictures of it because it was in Arlington, the last Arlington. Whenever I did that show review, there's pictures of it. It is cool looking, but I heard somewhere that it came out of Bell stock, and it might be something. I don't want to speak something I don't quite remember the story, but it might be something. It might not be something new necessarily.
Might be something we already knew about. That's interesting. Well, I keep thinking back to the Stormtrooper, which was the thing that really got me in there, and why I like the Azanthics and the Azanthic Desert Ghost. But whatever it is that turned that thing black, if you ever saw that thing when it was an adult, nobody's ever seen it again.
Well, I think it's so. Have you ever seen? Every once in a while, one pops up is a normal pastel where it'll suddenly lose its color.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen them when they suddenly turn like a silver and they get dark and silver gray like an Azanthic? And it happens in a matter of 2 sheds.
There's a ghost pied male on Morph Market right now that turned blue.
Mm-hmm. So the original Stormtrooper did have pastel in it. I'm wondering if it isn't that weird, if it happened to get that weird fluky pastel gene and it happened to be an Azanthic and so it was very dramatic.
Yeah.
That's my guess on it.
Yeah, well, I've seen it happen in pinstripes, non-pastel stuff, and then I've seen it happen in just normals. But then, so it's it got that thing, and it got the
weird whatever
turn dark TSK model edition.
Yeah, and so it's just more dramatic. But people have tried to breed those, and they haven't reproduced so far that I know of, anyway.
Right. So I'm not saying the Mimic is like Stormtrooper in that way. I'm just saying I heard rumors that because of where it was from, it could be like Rainbow and Desert Ghost in the same animal or something weird like that. Like that was what they were implying.
Like one's maybe fading out the other one. Yeah.
Yes. Or
That's
something.
interesting.
Or something's allelic with Rainbow. All of this was rumors, but because of the lineage, he has to work on it, I guess, is my point.
Yeah.
But it is cool. It looks nice. I like a banana that turns into a Desert Ghost Monarch, too.
I do, too, but how do you market that thing? And what do you pair with it?
I think it would be more of it's almost set up to be a pet.
Yeah.
Because as a breeder, am I breeding for how it's going to look as a baby or am I breeding for how it's going to look as an adult?
Yeah.
Can you really, it might look great as a baby and look like trash as an adult or vice versa, but if it's a pet, it's a cool color changing pet.
Yeah, I think if it is something unique and isn't rainbow plus something or whatever's going on, even then it'll be fine. People will like it for the next 20 years. Because it's good looking. I think I would breed it as if it was Monarch or something, because that's what it looks the most like to me as an adult.
As an adult, yeah.
Yeah, the collector in me wants one, not to breed it.
Yeah. Purple Church says falsy prices have dropped. Yeah, a bunch of stuff is dropping depending on how much was bred. Like the market's soft, but it's soft for everything. But if you breed a lot, then it's even softer. But if you just breed a couple, then it's not that soft. Turns out, supply and demand. Who would have thought? Let's go to favorite snakes you've acquired from outside, not bred, and brought in to your collection this year.
We've got a lot, but hands down, AJ, the Eastern Sanzinias, friends for life, man.
That's for him. I happen to like Tom from the Harvest.
Topman's a great snake too, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Tom actually kicked off our whole new breeding strategy, because going into 2024, I was like, well, we've got all the snakes we need. I don't need to buy anymore. I've got plans for 10 years that I'm going to mix all sorts of genes together. And then I bought that one and started thinking, hey, we can do a lot more with that. And then that set me off on a buying spree. It was bad.
Well, now's the time to be in a buying spree. That's why I'm always like, like if people have outside money and their family money is willing to spend extra money, then like you can really do you can clean up if you can right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, my background school was a finance degree, and I always, you can make. I learned that you can make money in up markets and down markets if you just do it right.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely in a down market, and there's ways of investing that are going to pay off down the road.
Eileen, what did you acquire this year that you were like, this is my favorite?
Other than that freaking auction snake, I actually did get something cool from Anthony. I got it's a blackhead leopard cinnamon lavender albino, probable het pine thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was kind of a neat pickup. I got a picture of him up on Instagram. He's like damn near purple. But my favorite is probably my Dominican Maggie. Sasha, I got Sasha from Matt Burton. He'd acquired her in a collection thing that was going away, and he picked up a couple snakes, and he just knew that I liked them. So he was going to keep her and decided not to keep her, and so I got her. And she's looking good now. She's finally hitting maturity, so she's getting really red. But I have a baby that's she's only like 3 years old, and she blows her out of the park. She's so neon. I sent you guys like a little picture of her, like just her side. She's insane. And so as an adult, she's just going to glow.
So those only, do I understand right? They only fire up and look so great when it's dark. You have to turn out the lights.
Pretty much, yeah. Like Sasha, like that picture, that's her like at her peak, and she's still not a full grown adult. Like she's like right teetering. She's sexually mature. She's kind of right there, so she'll brighten up more. But like that's her at peak. During the day, she's dark. She's got like her reds are more of like a reddish orange, and they really fire up. You have other ones like Maggie. She's red during the day and just glows even more at night. But, I mean, they come in a bunch of different flavors. People just don't care about the other ones.
Is that like a slow transition as the sun's going down, or is it like you turn the lights on and then 5 minutes later?
It's pretty slow. I mean, it's probably about the same speed as like, maybe not quite as fast as like a crested gecko when they fire up, but it's not too bad. Like, I'd say like I'd see her in an hour, she'd be different.
That's cool.
They're kind of like one of those species that literally every time of the day I go out there and I look at her, she's a different snake.
Wow.
And that's how all they are. They are all like that, no matter what you get.
Those are in my top 3 for if I acquire something next.
Like I'll send you some pictures of like,
but only as a pet.
No.
Actually, Randy from Stoic. Now he goes by Stoic Arboreals now. You should look at one of his is a pastel, and she's got that cream color underneath and the bright red pattern on the outside, and it's cool. People don't give a shit about pastels, but I feel like the mature Dominican people, they appreciate the other colors.
It's cool.
It's only the new people that want just the red ones. But
I like gray.
Dude, I saw one the other day that was so
Me
villainous.
too.
It was sick.
No, it's cool. I think it's good to promote just anything cool. That's what I think. So like, good. I like it. Gray or red, I'm in. 10 out of 10.
The gray can look nice. The best Western Sanzinia that I have is from a gray line, and it just looks stunning.
Mm-hmm. Have you posted a picture of it?
There's one on Instagram. Yeah.
You got like the shapes. Like the reason I like Sanzinias, the Sanzinias our colors are really cool, both the reds and the greens. But the head shape is what's really cool on that species. And I'm all about head shapes. That's the reason why I like the Dominicans is they don't have like the most arboreal, boas and stuff. They get that weird arching nose. And Dominicans, they don't get that. They have
like a Roman nose, you mean?
Yeah, they get that Roman nose. But Dominicans, they have this like very slender, they don't have heat pits, so they're really like smooth faced. And then you have the Sanzinias that are like really rough scaled on their face.
Yeah, they remind me of a velociraptor every time I see them, like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I'm a little bit, no offense, everybody, racist against snakes with heat pits.
They look cool without them. Well, what's neat is, so what do Sanzinias got really like expressive ones, or are they not? Like,
say that again?
Yeah,
like
they're
pits.
They're pretty big.
They're huge. Yeah. I mean, compared to ball python, they're like 3 times the size, I think, the heat pits are.
So With the
They look like a
Dominican,
mustache. I thought it looked like one of the walruses or the
yeah, kind of. Yeah. But since like
Huge.
do your Sanzinias, do you watch their eye movements? Do they have pretty like moving eyes? Because like ball pythons, they don't really move their eyes much. They just kind of turn their head.
Yeah, I haven't noticed them moving their eyes. I'm pretty sure they just turn their head too.
So with the Dominicans, since they don't, I don't know if it. My theory is that since they don't have heat pits, they're having to be a lot more visual. They have like full range of motion with their eyes, and so they'll sit there and they'll
That is cool.
watch you
They'll
across
track
the room.
you.
It's really neat. That's where they like
They
get
have
that
binocular vision. Like how much degree of binocular vision?
I don't know. They actually
Why
if
don't
you
you
look at them
CT
head
scan
on-
their head for me?
They're
File.
I think on my Instagram I have a picture straight on of one of them. And they can look forward.
If you're struggling to find that picture of the Sanzini, it's like 10 or 12 rows down on the left side there, Jessica, on Instagram. Outside picture.
This one?
Yep, that's the
I
one.
love that head, man. It's so cool. They're like a bulldog and a ball python had a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, what about this year coming up? What snakes do you want to buy, not breed, buy because you need it, you want it, you love it?
Buying it? I think he just bought all of his stuff this year.
Yeah, I don't usually
Hopefully
wait.
he
unless,
doesn't buy any more next
yeah,
year.
unless they don't exist, then I'm waiting. But there's not much of that. I pretty much know what I want to make, and then if somebody makes it first and I can buy it, sometimes I'll do that. That's about it.
Yeah,
For right now.
I already got a down payment on one of Randy's Dominican babies, so that's one. But I need to get some more puzzle stuff. I definitely need to add more puzzles.
So you are going to get the
Oh yeah, I've got stuff stuck in Memphis right now on the
Yeah.
way here. I've got a tri-stripe female who's about ready to breed.
What are you
and
doing
we'll
with
get the
tri-stripe?
imports next
You
year.
don't like
Oh, what do you think I'm doing with it? A Xanthic Desert Ghost. Straight in.
You gotta
well,
go
how
monarch
close
with that.
is Bobby Boy to that? That's something I think about sometimes. I'm like, I don't know how close the other people are to it. So I'm like, well, I'll try to do something else. Let them work on that.
Monarch tri-stripe would work out pretty cool.
Yeah, but I'm sure we'll do that too. That'll be next year's pairing tour. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Is she one that is ever bred?
No. And I was able to pick up 3 females for reasonable cost. They were all over 1,000 grams. So sometime over the next year, I'll probably be able to breed them that had not been bred before.
Hopefully they breed for you.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Just like sing to them or something.
Well,
Carry them around like
it
a
might not-
baby.
It might not
Like,
be
I
the
love
worst thing.
you,
If
please breed.
make sure they're super comfortable.
It'll
But
be okay if everything does not go at the same time.
I have
Yeah.
30 females that are on my breeding plan for this year. So I'm not hoping some of them don't go, but I'm expecting some won't go, and that'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. So do you guys aren't like, I don't know, titrating back because you have any concerns about 2025?
No.
Or you're like, I need these project animals, so I'm gonna do it anyway.
They're all
Yeah.
project animals. I think we
Yeah.
have one clutch that's just for shows because they're really pretty and we like to make them.
And I like shows.
Yeah, most of my girls had a year off and they got all fat, so I'm pairing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Make it
sometimes I'm
possible.
like, it's probably good. I don't know. It's hard because like if you want to pair them and get less eggs, if you don't feed them a ton and they still want to go, they'll just give you 5.
Mm.
And so then like maybe that's a good balance, but then you're like, I don't know if it's good balance.
Well, the good thing for us next year, even if it's a bad year, like we're going to be making so many double hets, we'll be able to get rid of some males just to pet stores. And then I'm holding back. I counted what I think I want, and it's like 60 snakes. So we're going to have a lot of holdbacks next year.
Are you gonna build a building?
No, we have enough room here. We have a lot of empty racks behind us still, so we should be able to do it. I'll have to get 2 more racks is what I've calculated if everybody were to go.
See, I want to reduce. These are all my adults. All these. That's it. I actually want to cut that down by like at least a third. I need to get
And when
down.
I say racks, I'm talking the animal plastic 10 high. Those are easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to cut down, but it's like it's been very hard to sell adults unless you literally, I don't know, punt them out the door, like kick them, and then you're like, oh, is that fair? No, and so then I just wait around a little bit longer. I don't know. It's weird year. All right, let's go. How is your business management changed? Like, do you think you're handling profit and loss differently?
Yeah, we had big changes on our end. We did our LLC this year, which before was just sole proprietorship. And mostly that's because I kept spending money and I'm like, crap, I can't just keep showing losses. I got to show them like it's a real business somehow. So I did the LLC. But now I'm wondering if I even needed to do that because I haven't been counting my inventory as income. And I think I'm supposed to do that. So if I do that, then I'll show a gain.
I never did because if you do cash-based accounting, you technically don't count your inventory.
Right.
It's just...
So maybe we'll have another big loss this year. I'll have to decide.
Hell yeah. I actually like it. I haven't been audited yet, but...
Yeah.
I just ride as a sole proprietor.
Yeah, in Oklahoma, there's no they're like, don't be a business, but don't tell us. So they actually do not want you to register as a sole proprietor here.
Indiana's like that too. Indiana, you don't declare. I'm too small to declare as a business in Indiana.
Right, they don't want you to. So I have a tax ID, so I can get wholesale whatever for Oklahoma, and I charge Oklahoma sales tax. But they're like, do not be a business here.
So yeah, I'm at the level right now.
Your DBA, but don't be a business.
So staying as a sole proprietor, I can still write off my business expenses as part of my personal expenses. And so there's been a couple of times where since I'm a student, I don't have an income, where my taxes have been a little weird, and it's kind of made up because if I take a loss on the snakes, I get it back in taxes because I still have some stuff taxed out.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had my taxes saved by my snakes a few times.
Mm-hmm. When will the IRS come for us? That's the real question.
Yeah. I keep hearing that you can't lose money more than 3 years, but
I've lost money every year.
No.
Well, there's also,
that's good to know.
I can't remember what it's actually called. It's called the corporation something or other, the thing where they want you to declare businesses, all businesses, even it could literally, if you have an office in your home, you're supposed to declare it federally, and there's a lot of fighting over it, if they're going to actually do it or not.
And then the $600 rule was pushed back again, but it could be pushed back again. And then I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to affect all businesses everywhere. I try to keep stuff, on.
Yeah.
And I claimed the income, but then maybe I messed up. I don't know. Someone throws a $15 whatever.
I did a lot of cash sales this year, and then since I'm also taking multiple forms of transaction, my primary is still PayPal, but I still take Venmo, Cash App, and all that. And because it was all spread out, I never got a tax thing from any of them. So cool.
Mm-hmm. But then they could push it back again. This would be the third year.
Maybe a third year. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're getting into this, get a CPA. Don't listen to me at all, ever.
We had a lot of other big business changes. We did our first import and our first export this year. That was big for us, and learned that process.
Where did you export to?
Germany.
Yeah.
Okay. The Xanthic desert ghosts there are, I guess, a little harder to find.
Okay, good. That's fun. Did you use somebody you want to tell us about?
Yeah, well, we went through. So from what I've learned, and again, brand new to this, done it once, but it seems like we have one exporter who has a lot of sub exporters that you ship through. So we actually wound up sending our snake to Bob Vu, who repacked it and sent it with another export. And it seems like they do it with ham. So it seems to arrive. They do about every 2-3 months when the ham show is going on. So the ones that I'm importing, they're not going to ship until February because the ham show was just last weekend.
Does Bob Vu, does he broker?
I don't know exactly.
Does he might have a guy that brokers for him.
I'm not sure. He was great to work with.
To New York.
I don't know where it went after that. I know that he got it, he repacked it, and it arrived about 3 weeks later, maybe a month later. It was a slow process. So I don't know between there what happened.
Yeah, every time I've sent to Asia, they go through multiple people, but
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are in California. Obviously, and is that obvious? I don't know, but some of them have been in New York, export wise. But I've never exported a ball python, so
Yeah, the guy from Germany contacted me and said, hey, he'll line it all up. And then he sent me a list. And it had a list of all sorts of breeders that we have heard of that I could send it to. He's like, well, just choose one. I was like, well, Bob's close. And I know him a little bit. So it was interesting.
Did Bob charge an extra fee?
Not to me. Now, he paid for all the export fees, the buyer did. When I'm importing, I went through what's SWR. I don't know if it's SWR.com. And they do all the UK or EU to US. And you just fill out a form, and it's 350 euros roughly. I haven't got the final price per snake. And they said that it's including the person on this end who's going to handle it, but not the FedEx from their facility to my place. I'll have to send FedEx to somebody. But they didn't give me a lot of detail. They said it will ship in February. We'll contact you.
Was it a ball python again?
Yeah, those are the two double het monarch axanthic females that I'm buying.
Yeah, it's different for like non-CITES animals because they're like way cheap. I spent $150 to import with FedEx shipping here to Shinrikyi. So, yeah. I mean, they're just like, fuck it, put it in a box. Bye.
Yeah, because I want to start looking into how to export CITES too.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too bad. And I can send you the list offline. I don't know if I could share it, but we got a whole list of people who do it. I was like, I need to get on this list somehow.
There's people that like fly over to Europe and they do shows over there, and I always wondered if they do a full export or if they just Delta dash and then just ride Delta.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can do that.
Maybe, but they still would have to go through customs.
Yeah, they still go through customs, but like for like moving internationally, I always wondered how I'd move my snakes. If I could just Delta dash and just ride. Yeah,
they are CITES. They're
not CITES 1 like the Sanzinias.
CITES 3 would probably be, because that's the most lightest one.
Let's look at ball pythons. CITES. I think
the Dominicans are only CITES 2, which is cool.
Yeah, I think
CITES 1 gets really tricky.
There's CITES 2. Yeah, CITES 1 basically is you can't.
Yeah, you can't do it
unless you're zoo.
CITES 2, you just need a permit.
Yeah. I think the person that does all the exports, or a lot of the exports, is Michael Cole. I think that's right.
Do you know with CITES 2, do you have to provide proof of like captive hatch or captive born? I know CITES 1 you do.
Nobody asked us anything like that.
Okay, that's cool. Because like for some of them,
yeah, so far so good. Well, the guy in Germany's got his pet. He wrote us on Monday, and he said she's doing great. I was glad to have her.
Yeah, no offense to exporters or importers. We all need them. It still gives me like the heebie-jeebies because they're like in different places.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we have quarantine.
Yeah, if it arrives and that animal they claim has mites, but it went to somebody else's facility for 3 days and then to them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame the person I'm buying from if the snake arrived with mites. I'd actually kind of expect it. Yeah.
It's also like when they get shipped, all the boxes are getting thrown together. All the animals are thrown in the same hold.
Yep.
And they're being housed, like taken out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they customs.
Water.
When customs checks, they just rip open boxes. They don't change gloves between boxes. They just reach in, they grab stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, that's like when people like they buy those the unopened ball python bags from Africa, and they're like, "Oh, they're clean. They can't get nitovirus." I'm like, "Bullshit." It was kept in a facility. It was handled by people.
We bought a couple of those our first year. That was an interesting experience. I've got 2 African dinkers, which look crazy. They look like really, really, really strong mahoganies or strangers, and maybe they are. I'm going to test them when we get those tests done. But they were like 40 grams, and I don't think they had ever eaten. And I know that they had been listed on this website that we found them on before I really knew things for at least a couple months. So I was just like,
you go through underground?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the whole like he didn't rifle through them. They're unopened bags. I'm like, yeah, okay.
No, we bought specific ones. They had pictures of them. We knew what we were getting, and there were 2 related, sisters that both looked like that. I was like, well, this has a pretty good chance of being genetic. So roll the dice. And we'll be breeding those this year too, which I'm excited to see what pops out.
Yeah.
If it's going to be recessive or dominant or just nothing. We'll see.
The hard part with the ones you are probably something, but you don't know what they are, is they could be something else. And so you end up spending a decade proving that they're not.
Not anymore. Not with shed testing.
I know, but then they have to find it and have enough interest in Arroyo and your mahogany and
just because
Phoenix.
Shed testing is limited, so it might not be able to pick up whatever you're kicking around.
If it's slightly different, we're struggling with the Desert Ghost line right now. That's like that. They keep saying they're almost there, but the Desert Ghost still isn't picking up all Desert Ghosts. There's a line that popped out of Mario projects that they can't find yet.
Maybe that's Mimic. The call was coming from inside the house all along.
Well, if it is, it's with something else, because we've got a lot of what we're calling the Luigi line Desert Ghost floating around, and we haven't seen anything.
Luigi, he's back.
It's come out of Mario, so
Sorry, our collective boyfriend is, Rip.
Ah, okay, got it.
Anyway, sorry. That got weird.
Tell us more about Luigi.
I don't know. I've just been like, we should eat rich people, and then I got weird, and then
isn't he like? He's a spoiled rich kid too, though.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that funny?
That's what's weird. I was expecting it to be like some guy whose like wife died from cancer, and now he's selling. He has to get rid of the house because they foreclosed. I was expecting that.
No, he was hurt and in incredible pain, and then 3D printed a gun. So here we are. Cheers, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Wait, we got to get our Christmas festivities back. I put them away and I forgot to bring them back out. Dang it.
I chose cheer wine just for that.
Very festive. Okay. Now that we've talked about Luigi, what processes or changes to animal care have you added or maybe taken away that you think were helpful in 2024?
The massive sink has been a godsend.
Oh yeah, got them out of the kitchen. They were in the kitchen.
Oh my god, it's been fantastic.
So I know that we kind of overdo it compared to most people. Every time they shed, we pull the tub out and wash the tub. That's our process. But when you have 80 snakes, that's quite a few each week, and you don't always wash them right away because you let them pile up a little bit. And doing that in the kitchen kind of sucks.
Yeah. How about you, Eileen?
I switched to it last year, but this is my first full year on having the ball pythons, not the other guys are all still on cocoa, but I've switched everybody else over to kiln dried pine. I fucking love it, dude. And everybody's scared because they hear the word pine, but it's kiln dried, so it's safe. But dude, I don't have to worry about caking up powder in the corners of my tubs. Everything, I tip it and everything dumps out. It's wonderful. I've had humidity issues when I was on cocoa because it was either too wet or too dry. And when it's dry, it just sucks the moisture out. And so since I switched over, everything's been great. But other than that, I've also switched over to using spreadsheets more. I'm used to doing it old school with cards and index cards and everything like that. So now I just have all my breedings are on spreadsheets. I keep track of it. So that's kind of helped a lot. I fight digital stuff. I've tried apps and I've tried Husbandry Pro, and I never keep up with that stuff. If I can't physically sit there and write on it while I'm working in the room, then it doesn't do any good for me.
I tried Husbandry Pro and went back to my spreadsheets. I'm pretty darn good with Excel. I can do formulas and make it do what I want. And
that would mean that I use Excel for everything. For everything. I even do it for my when I take stuff to show. I have all the information on a spreadsheet, so my husband, who knows nothing about snakes, can still look at it and still talk to the customer and answer questions.
Yeah, I've been struggling with getting back into Husbandry Pro. No offense, Husbandry Pro. It's just if you have 300 of anything, I do not care.
Yeah, because you have to sit there and log it all. I used to do that.
Which you can upload a spreadsheet, I think. I know you can. I don't know if it has all of the details that you would want.
They also have like the little QR codes that you put on your enclosure, but I also don't like touching my phone when I'm covered in like poop gloves
Stuff.
and
Yeah.
Right. So I would come back and I would be like, I fed all of these racks or all of this age of animal, because you could like search by, cause my ID codes are by species and then year and then clutch number. So what? But then even that is not actually that effective. If you have a couple hundred baby colubrids, who cares?
You know what I do?
You fed them. Check them off.
The little index cards that are on the enclosures here, the ones that have sticky notes, that means they have some information about them. Like either I paired them, or like if somebody like refused, like if I'm breeding females and somebody refused, I just write it right there on the little sticky note, and then I move on.
Yeah, we have all that on our spreadsheets, but we do just kind of write things in a notebook and then transcribe it later. And for our feedings, we like to move quickly through that, when you're feeding a bunch of ball pythons. So we have clips, like binder clips, and if they eat, then their names are on a 3D label printer on a binder clip, and then if they eat, then we'll put a black one on there if it was a frozen thawed, or a blue one if it was a mouse or whatever. So we can have like quick, and then we'll come back later and record it. Which
you almost have to have some tub side communication.
Yeah.
I don't know how you remember. Like I have like clip position and clip color and tape and writing and cards.
I use magnets. I have like different magnets for different things. Like if I go by and I see somebody's going blue, I'll put a magnet on there so I know to like, hey, give it an extra mist this week or whatever.
And I hope I'm not throwing both of the bus. I'll save names, but I've talked to several people about how some of this could be made easier, like with clutch and some of this stuff. It seems like the bigger breeders just don't record the things that we record either. And so they haven't bothered. Like they don't, I can't tell you when they lashed and shed lash and all that. And I thought that was surprising to me.
I only record sheds
like
if
600
it's
snakes or something.
Yeah, if somebody's in breeding, like if a female's been bred, I record her sheds on the little sticky note. But I don't record sheds. I don't really record weights. I don't check my snakes' weights all the time. I don't record their poops.
We record tub cleanings because that way, if it's been a few months since they shed for some reason, which doesn't happen a lot, but we make sure they get a clean tub anyway, and so we'll go through there every so often.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that Justin made clutch because he's like, I just want to know the lineage so I remember whose paw's head, whatever, if it comes out over here. And he doesn't necessarily care about tracking micro stuff because he maybe tracks it on the tub that they refused and they need a tub swap or whatever. That makes perfect sense. And like, maybe most people should think that that's what they'll need to be doing at some point, is like a tub system and just lineage tracking, because that's all that really matters at that size or scale.
And see, I'm big on lineage tracking because even though, like, especially with the puzzle, I want to get unrelated stuff because all mine are related to my main male. And so I'm very much, I know the species can handle line breeding to an extent, but I'm still one of those that I keep it as open as possible.
Yeah, we track that. But I got the feeling that they just don't track it. If they're not eating, well, they'll eat eventually. And I think that's.
Oh yeah, no. If somebody refuses, they get a little refusal thing written down or whatever, or anything abnormal. Like you said, if somebody hasn't like, oh, I don't remember if I haven't cleaned your cage. Like you haven't shit at any time. Last 2 weeks or whatever. Then I'll make like a little mark to like check on them or whatever. But I have a small collection, so I kind of get away with a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is something I haven't talked about anywhere else, I don't think. But I've been feeding a lot more ASFs this year, and my snakes, I don't know, people are high if you think ASFs are better for ball pythons than rats.
Are they shitting more?
They're not shitting more, but they're not growing more. They're definitely, if you want to slow down a snake, feed it ASFs because they're like not very big, and you're like, oh, hopefully it's 80 grams is enough for you. But if I fed them a rat, that would be like 100, the same age. And I know like it's not size corrected, but I have no idea what universe people are living in. We're like, yeah, ASFs are miraculously nutritious, everything's better, and more of my snakes are scared of ASFs now than anything else. I have a bunch of ones that are like, I will never eat an ASF again, they're feral, and I'm like, mine aren't that feral, but they don't like them. My tri-stripe male only eats rats, so like
I got rid of all my this year. I fed them all off because I had a colony, but I never replaced my breeders, and so they eventually hit that 2.5 3-year-old mark that they just stopped producing. So I finally, after a year not giving me a single litter, they all got fed off. And I didn't care to start them back up again. My mice were going well, and I just didn't.
I like the way they smell.
Are they really from that
I love
area? I think people usually said that they were from that area and it was their natural food source, but I think that was debunked.
Well, I did an episode on it
Yeah, that's right.
2 years ago. So cow
That's where I
chut
heard
is
it.
not
Well,
St.
people
Patrick
thought-
with them, but another one is.
People said that they were leaner, but they're not really leaner. They're
Especially like an old fat
they
male.
get fat and blobby. Yeah. No, they.
I just think they're not a miracle food. They're fine, but like having fed a lot of ASFs and had a lot of snakes become scared of ASF and prefer rats, and I'm like, I don't know what's
See,
going on anymore. Like I have to
I've
like
never had-
save up rat pups for my tri-stripe male because he's like, I'm scared of every ASF.
I've not had that issue. I actually like that ASFs when they get hit, they kind of like just freeze up and they don't sit there and gnaw.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
mean,
pull back as much.
he won't eat pre-killed ASFs. Like, I don't know. It's just been interesting. I think my collection was better on all rat diet for ball pythons than a mostly ASF. Some rats when I have extra diet. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go to ASFs or mice. I don't want to go anything that might get them stuck. That's what I kept hearing about ASFs and mice.
I've never had an issue getting stuck.
Yeah, they're not.
I've used ASFs to break. I've taken on some mousers. I've bought mousers. They swear up and down they won't take anything. I've used ASFs to break them off of mice, and then once they're broken off of mice, they take rats fine.
That's a good tip.
So the ASFs is almost like a step up.
I like the way ASFs smell. I like that they have a large number of babies. But I think if I was going to run a ball python collection, which I guess I still am, but I was going to tell someone, I'd be like, have ASFs for fun to make hoppers for babies, but still have rats. Norway rats are like a good meal, a juicy.
If I was
meal.
breeding out of my garage or out of my house, I would be 100% ASFs because I can't stand the rat smell being in my home. But because I have a shed, I can do whatever I want out there. But yeah, no, the smell difference is big.
Yeah, we're still getting them on frozen thawed as fast as we can and making a run to our friends once a week to buy 5 or so live for the ones that need it.
Yeah, even with frozen, I think I would still recommend people buy rats to feed.
Yeah.
I know like jumbo mice are cheap, and so like I'll use those sometimes frozen, but like it's a wholesome meal. It's a wholesome meal, a rat.
Like a freaking, you almost have to go up a size on frozen because they lose so much water.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see like a hopper mouse as like a frozen, it's like a little fucking fairy fart,
Yeah. They are tiny.
Yeah.
It is funny. I don't know if it's like the Swedish lines or whatever, but if you order a large pinky from some people, it'll be different. It'll be bigger than my homegrown fuzzy mouse. And I'm like,
You're throwing in hamster pinkies in there.
I don't know what's going on sometimes. I'm just like, it's the girth of the snake. Because some people are like, where do you get pinkies this small? And I'm like, from a mouse's vagina. You just got to go for it right there and just receive it.
They should sell like Red Hots.
Some of them do. Some of them don't sell Red Hots.
What I need to start doing is just freezing off litters of Red Hots. That way I always have them on hand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just been an interesting year because I'm like, ASFs are not all that.
Yeah. I like the size that they come out bigger and they get to that like hopper size faster, but once they hit that hopper size, they stay there for a long time.
Yeah, it
takes them a while to grow up from that. So like when I have hatchlings, it's great. The problem is that they when they're born the size of like a fuzzy mouse. So they're already too big for like my house snakes. Mm-hmm. So I can't use them for the house snakes.
Yeah, that like werewolf phase is funny. Mm-hmm. And it's really
like little hairy noses. Yeah. They're cute.
Yeah, they're part of a package, but I think a lot of people drank some ASF Kool-Aid and it's fine. But having run a lot of snakes on ASF only, I'm like, ball pythons, not for me. Buy frozen thawed mediums or something to like fill it in. But I have females that have fed every week since they laid and are not up to condition because whatever, an 80 gram, like you've grown it up for 4 extra week wiener is not actually enough for an adult female ball python to get back condition.
And when you get an ASF that's as big around as like a medium rat, it's only this long, not this long. So it's the same thickness, but it's less rodent.
Right. If you weighed it, it would weigh less. And I feel like I had that position before. I 100% have the position now. And if someone tells me they're an ASF only breeder, and I look at their adult males or something, they're always like barely 700 grams or something. Yeah, I'm like, if that was fed rats, at least some of the time, it would be a 1,000 gram male, 1,200 gram male. He can breed 8 females. Mm-hmm. These little wimpy boys on ASFs.
Yeah, because you'd have to feed multiples. For an adult,
right.
You have to feed multiples. Like they did you ever see like the dwarf European rats that people were like
that were expensive?
I don't know, the prices here weren't too bad, but just people that had line bred genetically smaller
I feel like
ones.
They were hundreds of dollars in Washington.
Oh no, not here. Yeah, but here nobody knew what they were, nobody cared.
Okay.
So
It's a good scam. Then you should drive there, bring them.
To me, that is ideal because they only got to the size of a medium and no bigger. And it's like, well, cool. I'll never have to worry
about fecundity problems or something.
Maybe because they're not popular. You don't see them around anymore. I just saw them for a number of years, and
like literally the does either have problems with labor or something. Like babies. I think it's recessive, so you had to breed like a visual homozygous dad to mom, and like you couldn't breed the does or something weird about it.
And they could have like genetic things. Have you ever gotten like the little ones with dwarfism? Every once in a while, a little dwarf rat will be born, and they have like the shortened face and shortened limbs, and they never survive. I always try to keep them alive, and they never live.
I don't know if I ever have. If something is really deformed,
it's very rare because it like at Anthony. I used to work at Anthony's shop, and we produced for all the zoos and pet stores, so we had a really, really big colony, and like we'd get maybe 2 of those a year, 2 or 3 of those a year, and they're so fucking cute. It's like a hamster rat thing. But they never live.
Weird. All right. We're almost done. We've accomplished many things tonight. I don't really know.
I like Andrew's comment about breeders still feeding their snakes, and Andrew certainly some don't. We've had some run-ins.
We can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, let's finish the questions and maybe. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Any changes to social media strategy coming up? More YouTube videos, maybe.
Eventually, I think we have a little bit of time because nobody's going to care about the double hits that we're making. So sometime probably towards the end of next year, we're going to start getting into it pretty heavy.
You were doing a little YouTube a long time ago.
Yeah, we were doing like one every 6 months or a year. we probably should put another one out just to keep it alive, but we never. It takes a lot of work. So
I know. I suck at it too.
Or do lives, I'm not into lives for me personally. If I was going to do it, because I make too many mistakes and then I obsess on it. I need to be able to edit my videos.
Eileen, how about you?
He's too busy right now fixing the Senziniac stuff.
Yeah.
I want to do more like short form educational stuff on the Dominican stuff. Like not on YouTube, or I would love to do it on YouTube, but I just don't have the time to do editing and longer videos. But I might just do like little short blurbs on Instagram. I do need to post more. I'm bad about it.
I think that's the thing to do is short anyway. Even if you're doing YouTube, if you're trying to get people to see them, 5 or 10 minute ones might be better.
Yeah.
To get big views, big numbers.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to make like a formal video announcing the changes to the podcast or this channel. But
I keep waiting to get the letter that set up my pink slip, that says I'm fired as a sponsor.
I don't know. I have to decide like what the real value proposition is. Like, I don't know.
It's December.
I know it's December. Think about it. Like, because I don't know. I struggle with like obviously fairness and equity and like happiness, and I'm like, it better be happy or I'm gonna. But yeah, I think collectively everyone should try to reach out to new people as gently and as lovingly, like baby Jesus. Just pick up just be nice to them. And then in any sort of simplified content would be great, because a lot of times they're not here. They're not here in this live right now. A sweet baby breeder. They don't know. They don't know nothing. So we have to protect them and help them out.
Yeah.
Any icky experiences in 2024, and what are you going to do in 2025 to make it better?
Not buy any more auction animals.
That was the most sticky experience we had.
Yeah, that was the only real ick I had this year.
We did screw up a clutch so that we cut and didn't get the press and seal back on it, and so it kind of dried out and we lost a snake. Just didn't get a chance to come back. Like got stuck in there and like dried to it.
Oh,
Or be better about making sure press and seal goes back on, because at least our tubs are not airproof at all. So that was painful. But that's the first time we had that.
I always keep a little bowl of water at the bottom of my incubator, because I actually use tubs that I put little holes in. I do the Garrick de Meyer method, where it's a tub with little pinholes, and my humidity is a little higher in the incubator also.
This clutch we have in now, we're trying
The Orbeez.
Orbeez. Yeah.
Oh, the Orbeez? Oh, cool. I've seen people do really well with that.
Cool. This is our first time doing it.
We're attempting it.
It's high humidity right now. It's working so far.
I wonder if it'd be cheaper or more expensive to just use cricket gel, because that's what Orbeez are. It's like
Same
round
shit. Yeah.
cricket gel. And then I'm like, it's fine. Like, but like, is it more expensive? How much is an Orby? Can't be.
Orbeez are cheap.
We
They're
got
so
them cheap. We got them on Amazon for $1 a year.
Because since they're round, when they expand, they take up more space.
Yeah.
Whereas like the cricket gel just kind of coagulates into a blob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the orbs kind of like hold themselves off. I actually want Marcos is a glass major at school, so he does like glass blowing. I wanted to make special vases that are like almost like an Erlenmeyer flask, where it's like fat on the bottom and narrow up top, and I want to put Orbeez in it, and for like propagating plants for enclosures, so you don't have to have
that's
a
a good idea.
bioactive. It's a vase that stays watered in the enclosure.
That's cool.
I think that'd be cool,
Good
like
idea.
pothos or whatever.
Does he make vases of any kind, or does he just do?
Yeah,
Okay.
he does all kinds of cool stuff. Like
Good for
he's
him.
yeah, he loves it.
That's fun. Check
Yeah,
him
I
out.
think-
Rusted Anchor Co.
If it's starting to lose too much water too, I think you'll have a visual for
Yeah, they'll start to shrivel up and yep.
yeah. So we can just kind of look in our clear tubs and see if they're still big and plump.
Yeah, it's like a good alternative to like people were doing like the water only method, but like that's I've seen so many people drown babies that way or whatever. They get out, they get underneath something, and they get stuck down in there.
Stuck.
And they slosh and stuff. And that other stuff we're using, the vermiculite, I guess, that stuff just got everywhere. It was just nasty.
It's dusty as hell. Yeah,
And
I still use a
sticks.
mix. I use perlite vermiculite together.
Yeah.
But I also use light diffusers, so I kind of oversaturate a little bit. The only problem with light diffusers, you got to remember to take it out when they start hatching. Otherwise, they will get stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used everything, and they're all have pros and cons. I use sponges with water in it, cocoa with water in it, like cocoa core and cocoa chip. All of it's fine. It just needs to hold a lot of water.
Yeah.
And then if it's like a saturated model, put the snakes on a grate. So you can use whatever you want. So it's fine. And Orbeez are pretty. So that's good for social media.
Yeah.
So like
He got a very large bulk of variety colors and some clear ones, so I can make them whatever combination I want.
Yeah. And we still put not the dragon hatch one, but the ones where they don't really fit together well. But we have the grate on top of it. So, but I'm not sure we even really need that. But I'm nervous. I keep hearing people say you don't want the eggs to get wet. I'm not 100% sure why that would be.
and like this year, like a lot of my tubs don't allow the hatch rates to fit on it or grates unless I cut the grate down a bunch. I've been just putting them back into vermiculite again, and they hatch that way too. It turns out
That's what I do.
like, it's all fine. It's just you have to control the moisture. You know?
Yeah, I've also done like, where you just bury them in the vermiculite. And that's great if you're really good at like feeling the difference between what's too wet and what's not too wet. And when my sensitivity started going in my hands and I can't feel wet anymore, so that got harder. So I just started separating them.
And just squeeze it, see if it drips.
Yeah, you can do that. And then I, like I said, now I just take off the grate and I just stick them in, like once they start pipping, I put them directly on it and it's fine.
Yeah.
I just want to solve why I can't incubate Climacophora eggs correctly. Every year. It's been 4 years now. Some percentage of them die in the
What's
egg.
the
late
temperature
term.
gradient for them?
Like a warm
Temperature?
snake room, like every other colubrid.
Yeah, do you ever
And
just
I've
like
done them
stick it on top of
colder,
a
and that
rack
doesn't really make a difference either.
just stick it on top of a rack and like forget about it?
Yeah,
And then go, oh shit, when you hear something?
yeah. That's all. Basically, all the
Like,
colubrids.
Anthony was trying for years to hatch. He had a pair of pancake tortoises, and they would lay religiously, and he could never get them to hatch. And it was one of those, like, it's the one year that you just say, I don't fucking give a shit. I'm just throwing them somewhere. And then they hatched. So,
So they'll hatch, but a certain percentage of every clutch will have full-term babies that are dead in the egg. And then I'm like, are they drowning? Are they over calcifying it? So some years I've like pipped the ones that hadn't pipped yet, but they will already be drowned by then. And then I'm like, do I pre-pip them? Or I don't know. That's my problem, but I can't solve it. So here we are. Yeah, most colubrid days you just stick in an 80-degree room and just be like, bye. And temperature swings, fine. Nobody cares.
have you tried just leaving them with mom maternally?
Well, they don't do anything to it.
I didn't know if they would like, you know how sometimes like babies will feel the other baby in the egg moving and it'll stimulate them to hatch. If they're with something like that, like with mom, maybe they'll feel more motion and it'll stimulate
But
them.
they abandoned their eggs. So like they would feel like if I rubbed them, sounds weird.
Yeah,
And see if I could encourage them to come out. But like every time I've cut and checked, they're already dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm like, are they just dying late stage because they were incubated too hot? I think I'm going to incubate them even colder. Like bring them in the house and have them be in like a 75-degree room instead of a 78 to 82 degree snake building. Every year, like if you have 8 eggs, I only get 6 babies. 2 are dead in the egg, full term. Or 9 eggs, 3 are dead in the egg. Something like that. Yikes. Sorry. What a downer. All right. What other major hobby events this year affected your business? Though you're for good or bad, that you just come to mind, you're like, man, that's a big difference. I appreciate that.
I just keep going back to the genetic testing. It's such a game changer. I just got done reworking all of our projects for next year. It looks nothing like what I had planned last year.
Mm-hmm. Was it like too fast to you, or you're like, this is the right speed?
Yeah, there's a part of me that wishes we had never had genetic testing, but it's here and we have to adjust for it. Yeah, and it was going to happen. It was inevitable, right? But my concern with genetic testing is that it essentially makes all of our recessives act like dominants. But it does that, so you need to adjust for that, right? So I bought like a male that's het monsoon. I'm going to have monsoon and axanthic and other stuff next year, double hets, triple hets, that otherwise I would not have bought one that was het monsoon because how would I know which baby to hold back? And now I can do that.
Because they look at monsoon.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But either way, some of them you can't tell as easy, and some of the stuff I put with it might make it hard too.
But it's like democratizing a morph good for that morph.
Yeah. So the ones that
it might be good
and
shed fun testing for everybody, but they're not expensive because they've been democratized, right?
The ones that don't have shed testing are going to hold their value a little longer, right?
So you should not send your shed test. It causes like perverse incentives where like if there is no shed test, that one becomes harder.
Yeah.
To be fair, I imagine a lot of people that when they get that negative, they probably still put it up as a pos head anyway.
Yeah, but does anybody believe them? Like we all know that. So like the incentive now is to like there's no price premium to a pos head. There's no price premium to 100% head for a lot of these recessives at this point. Or double if it's like a male double head. Who cares?
Something's like super rare and obscure. That's what they're doing.
It is suspicious when someone does not test like a blankety blank puzzle head sunset, pos head sunset. You're like, hello? Why didn't you test that? And they're like, well, I don't feel like it. Do you? I don't know. Does it change? Do you feel, is it negative or positive? Or just like, it's different, so I just had to deal.
Outlook for what, I guess, would be my question.
Testing.
I mean, yeah, Testing's here. I had that conversation with Canova a few years ago before it was released. I was like, we're about to see all these recessives become way cheaper. It's like, no, I wouldn't do it if it was going to do that. Well, I don't know. But it's here, and you got to roll with it. You can't just keep pairing the same way you used to.
On the plus side, it does kind of reduce people. Like if they're actually going to go out and breed for a project, they're probably not going to produce near as many. They're not going to take that 100% het and breed it to 1 million females just to make a bunch of pos hets. I'd hope that they wouldn't, but you can see that as stopping that, but also encouraging that.
I feel it's definitely encouraging that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna make a ton of hets. I'm gonna do probably 100 tests next year.
That's expensive.
Yeah, but what we're working with, it'll pay off. There's an ROI on that.
Yeah.
But what I do is I look for hets that don't exist, right? Things that I want to make that don't have hets already available, and then make those. Because I can test and make sure that they are what I think they are. And where my strategy before was, I'm going to buy an axanthic het pied and a pied het axanthic and pair them together.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a bunch of visuals that are worth more. And that works. But you're always chasing somebody else's project that way.
So I'm small. And so I only have a limited number of females. I have most of them lined up for something already. And so if I want to really maximize my females, it's better to just have the visual and pair the visual and know directly what it's going to. Instead of me breeding 1 to 5 different females, I could just breed them to 1 female and guarantee that instead of having a possible het and breeding it, or 100% het and breeding it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just, I'm not trying to make process. I'm going to test them and see which ones are hets and which ones are not. But it just comes down to how much you want to pay for that animal. If that het monsoon was orders of magnitude cheaper than a monsoon as a male. And then I can breed him in the next year. It was 350 grams. So
is monsoon's kind of the only place now, right? Because even past sunsets, I don't see anybody going after anymore. So is it just monsoon that's kind of that high?
No, I just use that as an example. I've got 6 new recessives that we're going to be.
Well, I mean, for pos het value, I feel like it's probably just monsoons now, right? That has actually decent value for if it's a possible.
Oh, that's anything that doesn't have a shed test yet, really. Because after that, why would you?
That's true.
Why would we buy it?
Mm-hmm. I feel it's just monsoon anyway. Even stuff that has relatively expensive visuals, nobody.
Because sunsets, people aren't paying premium for. They're not paying any more for a possible het sunset anymore.
No,
they might actually buy it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's the same price, but they might actually buy it. If it's a Mojave, yellow belly,
but it might be. It's just
pos het sunset, and it's Mojave yellow belly price. But then if it
increased demand value, but not.
Does that make sense? Oh, God.
Monetary value.
I'm depressed again. I wasn't depressed. Sorry.
Yeah, Lori's not letting me talk about all of our projects, but everything that I'm making hets on is stuff that you can't find on Morph Market right now, and I'll be able to test out the stuff that would be possible. So.
Yeah, what's hard about it is people already all have this idea already. So how do you plan on being the person that gets that sale 5 years from now when you hit a Desert Ghost, BPI Axanthic, Hypo, Monsoon Clown?
Right. That's why we're going to have some sort of a YouTube channel, I think.
Yeah. I think that's the only real difference in the end.
I think that's primarily, and then I think also there is some amount of marketing, to be honest, that comes along with being the first one to hit it, and that was part of the decision to import the double het Monarch Axanthics. Speed me up 2 years, maybe get my name out there if I'm the first one, and we're already trying to be associated with Axanthics. So that was the thought process there.
Yeah, it'll all be fine in the end. I just don't know what we're doing on the journey there. We're just doing stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm still of the mindset that one day they're all going to be $300 snakes. So I want to have really pretty stuff to take to those shows.
Yeah, I just want people to be. I don't know, happy. It's very weird, dichotomy between you go to a show and everybody's depressed, and then some shows are all happy, and you're oh, thank God these ones are happy. But then that show will weigh you down for 2 weeks later. You're oh God, everybody must wanted to die here, and then I'm a part of the problem clearly because I'm I'm feeding off their depression. We're all getting depressed together. I don't know. We need to like clean the hobby a little. Just clean it out. Don't be depressed, or don't go to those shows if they make you feel that way. You know, I don't know. That's all. All right, Eileen. Any events that we thought were notable in 2024?
I really appreciate the fact that little breeders are coming back.
I know they're so sweet.
There's a very, very small resurgence of baby breeders coming around,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that.
I saw somebody who their Morph Market account was turned on this summer. I was like, bless your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I love it. I'm all for that because I did notice the sales have upped a little bit since, like, throughout the year. It seems like it's going up.
Yeah, we've been selling a lot last month or so off of Morph Market
and I'm
social media.
I'm a stingy fox, so I don't like. I'm really bad about keeping my prices. Like when prices went down, about dropping them with everybody else. Most of my stuff's been the same, and people are paying full price. I'm not getting like all of a sudden. I'm not getting as many people bargaining. They want the animals, or they want 2 of them, and they pay them full price. Or I'll give them like a discount for multiple animals, but that's about it.
It's a good sign. I mean, we had to hit the bottom at some point. So.
Yeah. Well, it felt like this year was better. And then like I was looking at my numbers, and like the last fourth quarter of shows just got way worse. And I was like, what is going on? And then some shows were better. And then but it just felt like it was way down at shows. And I'm like, maybe they're switched to Morph Market again. Like, because I sold some snakes fourth quarter and I could barely sell them at shows. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. But
we're doing good on Morph Market right now. The last few weeks, I mean, we've shipped, well, I don't know if you want to count my pet store sales or not, but maybe 15-ish snakes in the last 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I this isn't like a prognostication episode, hopefully, because who knows. But I think the spring, like 2025, might be like in general maybe not amazing, but maybe a little bit better than 24. And 24 was better than 23. 23 was that's the dream. What do we
I
think
just
about
feel bad because, like, you know, like we've lost a lot of breeders this year or whatever, but we didn't lose like the bad people that should have gotten them.
So dumb.
Name them for us, Eileen. Who are we talking about?
We lost so many good people, and then like the flippers, they still somehow have lived through the downtime, and they're still there, and still.
That's why when Travis was like, "Yeah, it's a meritocracy," I'm like, boyfriend, I don't know if it is actually. It's kind of a shitocracy right now. Yeah. Like to really like have people that are really ethical thrive, they need to like be able to have time to have a compelling message form around their business and do the marketing. And so sometimes they did that, but then like they're not out competing flipper number 72. Like, I don't know, brother.
Yep. Well, also like, so you know how we were kind of a messed up pyramid where you're supposed to have more baby breeders and then mid-level and then like your upper breeders, but because everybody was pushing for the top, we have like kind of a big swell at the top and smaller at the bottom. But now all those medium and big breeders are also mass producing pet quality snakes, and so all the market that would have been here is being filled by people above. And so I think that's kind of a little side effect.
I do. I think there are more. No offense, more attrition due at those levels. Like, if we're all selling $300 steaks, do you still want to have that business, brother?
Right.
Sure.
Well, it's easier for baby breeders to get out. Like, they don't have employees to pay. They don't have, for them, they just go back to their day jobs and sell everything, Whereas somebody that has to make the ends meet have to make the ends meet.
Yeah.
So all I say is it's got to be better. Hopefully it's better next year. It feels like it's on its way up.
I don't know what sort of like hex I have to do to make this happen, but I'm in.
I'm optimistic. I just don't want it to keep going down. Right? If we leveled off right here, this is fine. We just adjust for it.
To make you feel better, eventually, one day, the cohort of fans that grew up with Snake Discovery will be old enough to spend their own money.
Well,
That
they were
wave is
doing
still
that.
not hit.
They were doing that in St. Louis.
Yeah.
They're starting, because now they're in their pre-teeny stage where mom and dad will buy them their first, but eventually they're going to get a little older, and then they're going to want more, and they're going to want to breed.
Yep.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah. They're all going to want to breed hognose, though. What are you going to do about that?
And then we'll have an even bigger crash because then they'll all start breeding and not buying, and then it'll happen again.
Yeah, I think everything will be fine. We just have to keep going. Be happy. Mostly is the answer always. Like if you give up, and the people who do give up on like the hobby, they're not bad people. A lot of times they're like
It's usually the good people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's the people who are trying to do it right and you realize that was way too much work for them to
They're
actually
just
Right.
exhausted.
I like them. They're fine. Come back whenever you want. Bless your heart. It's like it's all sort of fine and natural. It's just, I just feel like a lot of things changed big this year. Like ARPE came out just this year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They like launched and
they
took off.
They took off crazy.
Yeah.
I do worry a little bit about there being a flood of too many big national shows.
Yeah.
Because, like, the reason why everyone did so well at Tinley back in the day is, like, it was what everybody waited and saved their money for. If they were on the East Coast, they went to Tinley. If they're on the West Coast, they went to Pomona, and they'd save up their money. But now when you have one, like, every month, people can't save up the big bucks for every single one of those,
And everybody's not going to all of them either. So what's a national level show is much smaller.
Yeah, but now when you have, like, it used to be like they were really far apart. But now you can do driving distance to 2 or 3 of them. Easy.
Yeah,
Do you
they're just
think
a couple of states apart?
that some of these shows even qualify as national level shows?
That was going to be my question. Is like, if we're just driving 2 to 3 hours, are they still national shows?
Some of them are trying to be. They're pushing to be.
Yeah.
I know they're trying to be, but like Dallas is really big, but are there national level people there anymore?
If the other shows are more I like the St. Louis size. I thought that was like the perfect size show without being a massive national show. Even though I think it would technically be considered a national show since it's an NARBC. I don't know.
I think the only shows that should be considered national level shows are where someone will fly in from outside of the country.
There you go.
Not necessarily like from, whatever, or within the US, because they might be there to see their friends. But like if so Tinley would count, Ham would count, CRBE would count, Pomona would count. But what else counts? Almost none of them.
Right.
Daytona maybe in the past, but
Yeah, in the past Daytona definitely because of the imports.
I'm looking
What do you
forward
think
to going
about
to
that
Ham
theory?
next year. I like that. I think that's good. So I'm just hoping they can do shows good enough that I want to fly to them inside the country. There's not a lot of those that I would.
But when there's so many of them though, like if you're only going to pick one to fly to, you're going to want to go to the big ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want to see less little shows too. Not because they don't deserve to exist, but because I think they actually are predatory on vendors. What do you think about that?
I think it's a trade-off.
Yeah, it's a trade-off. Because without little shows, so generally some people say well, you can't, if you have a monthly show, when something goes monthly, it hurts. But at the same time, at least when it comes to snakes, when people can actually go to a show and buy their feeders once a month, they're more likely to own a pet snake if they can get feeders once a month.
I just think it's predatory.
It depends on where you're at.
I guess. But they need to be I don't know, have a fucking counselor come in. Literally, somebody needs to sit down with these people and be okay, you've been 8 shows, haven't sold a single snake. You don't sell anything else. You don't sell feeders. You just come here for fun and hang out with your friends. They need a counselor, a college counselor, a business counselor, a priest. They need to be blessed. What's going on here?
I dropped my Ohio shows because as much as I absolutely love the Sin City show. I love hanging out with people there. I like the vendors there. I love the people there because I have regulars that come up and talk to me every month. I love that show, but I cannot sell anything there. It's completely dry. The market there is so dried up that they still will fill the building, but nobody's buying.
Mhm.
And so I had to drop that show. Meanwhile, my Midwest show, which has been around since, like, I used to go there when I was like 3 years old, back when it was a monthly show. And that one seems to still be doing well monthly. Or not
Mhm.
monthly, but like bi-monthly.
Well, good. I mean, good. And I think if vendors are doing there, that's good too. But I think people don't have like a sense of self-preservation. Like they're literally like funding the show, letting the show continue by patronizing it. Then
But the
they
good
make
thing
excuses
is,
for it.
but they're
Yeah.
like $50. They're not like the
Yeah, they're $50.
$450 that St. Louis is, or you know,
Yeah.
these other ones.
I did feel
Although-
like the price for
I don't-
St. Louis, my one gripe was that I was a little mad that the prices were the same for St. Louis as it was for Tinley. For a much
The size of
smaller
the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. That was my one gripe. It's still a good show, great size thing, but yeah, I don't think the prices should have been the same.
Yeah. It's a lot. I mean, so when we go vend a local show that's a $50 table and get childcare, we might make our money back. And then when we go to St. Louis and get a hotel, and I mean that's a $2,000 trip, and then we might make our money back. So either way, we're going for fun. You know, we're really not. We need a business counselor on either of them.
And a priest.
Yeah.
But I feel like going to St. Louis is a better networking opportunity than going to Little Baby Show. What do you think of that?
Yeah, the little baby shows are like I get more like long-term customers off my baby shows because even though they won't buy that day,
Mhm.
if I leave a good enough impression, they usually are the ones that contact me later. Whereas a
Yeah.
national show, they've gotten a card from 50,000 people in that room. They're not going to remember to contact me.
No, but the vendors you see will make a relationship with you that is
Oh
different.
yeah,
than
the networking's a lot better with
Yeah.
that. But for pet people, the networking for me is better at small shows. So I guess it's against a flip off.
Yeah, I just feel bad for a lot of the people who are like, I think they're trying to be nice to the promoters and they like, they did.
Oh yeah, that's the reason why I stuck with Sin City as long as I did is because I really liked the promoters. But I was paying them $50 a month for a table and not driving 2 hours, you know.
Mhm.
And I'd go back if the market got better, but it is what it is. I think they need to downsize on their vendors, though. I think they have too many vendors. If nothing's selling, you got to cut back on vendors.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
guess
I
all
think
these
that would solve many problems.
so the non-Tinley, Daytona, Pomona shows are really like middle size. I mean, maybe we need a new tier other than local and national
Yeah.
regional shows.
Yeah, Dallas is freaking huge, but it feels like a middle, like a ARP. No offense, Dallas. Like it entered like 6,000 people, but you know, pretty fun, but it doesn't feel exclusive. You know what I mean? It's just like it's such a big building. They got to bring everybody in. There's nothing. It's not like Arlington felt exclusive and weird, even though there were some local yokels there. You know, there was a lot of bigger breeders there. What do you think of that? You guys went once.
One of the things I'm trying to figure out is when I go to these big shows, or even sometimes people at Morph Market that are trying to buy, like they'll look at our Axanthic Het Desert Ghost, let's say, right? It's listed male for, I don't know, $500. And they say, wow, I really want an Axanthic. That thing's pretty. Here's my $500 for a pet. And I'm just like, I should have bred some $100 Axanthics for you because this just looks exactly like a $100 Axanthic. And that's one thing I struggle with at some of the big shows. Like, but I'll sell it to them, but I struggle with it.
That's something that that I really appreciated about that St. Louis show, and I think it's the presence of snake discovery where people want the more expensive pretty pets and not just the cheapest.
Yes.
I think
But it
those
looks
kids
exactly
really-
like the $100 one because it's Het
Yeah.
Desert Ghost.
they want the better one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those kind of people that are on a mission, sometimes I feel like they're easier to find on Morph Market. Like the really high quality pet buyer, which maybe it's a stretch, I don't know. But like around here, like the average pet buyers, is it cheap enough? Like that's their first question. And everything else is secondary.
Yeah.
But a high quality buyer can be found on Morph Market. It'll be interesting, like how it shakes out, because you need to lay the seeds for future babies by having something for them to buy, and maybe you should make $100 Xanthics. What do you think of that?
We do a clutch. We're gonna do a clutch of those. We tend to do
Mhm.
that.
Everything you make is het something. And so
Yeah.
when they
Yep.
buy it and they raise it up and they're like, hey, it is het something, so I could breed it once just for fun.
And that's what I tell them. Whenever somebody spends out that kind of money on something, it's like, oh, it's so pretty. I love the axanthic. I'm like, yeah. And if you decide to breed it, you
Here's
could
what
breed
it
it with
could
something
do.
over here and make
Yeah,
that.
you just sprinkle that into the conversation.
That's
Yeah.
right.
All right.
I feel better.
Last question. Anybody going to Pomona in January?
No.
Nope. I have a show that day, actually. Here.
That's- I'd love to. One day I'll fly out there for it.
Yeah. We're on the wrong side of the country for that one, other than just to attend.
Yep.
Maybe next time. Maybe the summer one. For fun. Go to Disneyland. Isn't it right next to Disneyland?
I think, yeah.
Am I making that up?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Maybe we'll make that into our 2026 plans.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah.
2026. Well, we'll have a reunion after
Make it a
Jessica's giving us
goal.
all our pink slips. And
Yeah, my 2026 plan, I want to fly to a show in another country.
That's our 2025 plan. We're going to Ham in September.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's going to be
It's gonna be
fire.
There you go. It's content.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and now I'm learning a little bit about the export process. I have a bucket list item to vend ham one day. It won't be soon.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, it won't be September probably.
You should look into Delta dashing. See if you can just Delta dash and fly Delta, and then
I
just
think-
go right there.
Well, being CITES, I think we'll probably have to go through one of the exporters, but they definitely do bulk shipments and pricing. So we'll figure it out.
That's good. Yeah, we'll do it. Next week, I don't even know who. Hopefully 2 of them decide. It's hard to herd chickens. I don't know if anybody knew that. It'll either be Monday or Tuesday. And this Sunday, it'll be Jennifer talking about the McSweeney show, which is like a really old show that people drive all the way from like 15 hours away to do. Like, that's how good and old it is, supposedly. So we're going to hear about it on the member live. If you're not a member, gets a little spicy in there. And when it does, we get lots of downvotes, but fuck you guys, because I'll say what I want. I'll put only in the member live.
That's why it's
That's
so
all.
good.
All right. McQueenie. Ka-chow. That's what I think of every time. It's lightning and McQueenie. Sorry. All right. That's enough. Let's say bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you Sunday.